When last we met our dreadful vampires, they were making strange elevator music noises with their mouths, which you can go on Instagram and see. But before all that happened, or rather after all that happened, they had a bit of an encounter at a hotel in Montreal called Ruby Foo's, where they encountered a fairly ancient Zimshi named Ruby, who extricated from Margot a promise to return and see her and be friends with her in exchange for them releasing Margot's ward, Cecilia. Soon after, in another room, they met l'enfant terrible, the horrible child. And one thing led to another. The horrible child attempted to flee. Elise fled with Cecilia in tow. Vico came popping out of the darkness. There was some strange creature trying to eat him. Fiona and Margot helped him get away from that. And Margot almost fell into the abyss and saw this creature there, this grandmother calling to her. They managed to escape this situation with Elise using some of her powers to make l'enfant terrible run away from her. On the way out, they started having doubts as to whether or not Cecilia was really Cecilia, because they saw somebody else putting Cecilia in a minivan and taking off with her. And on the way out, also, Fiona saw her target, Tanner, a union broker, and proceeded to kidnap him. Because that's what Fiona was here to do. Everyone went home separately. Fiona with her kidnapped victim, Tanner. Elise with Cecilia, the young ward. And Margot went off drinking in a little bar, trying to wash away the darkness and difficulties of the day. And that's where we pick up and find our vampires tonight. Illusion by Rachel Eliza Griffiths. Waiting inside of the night, I could make out the mound in my mother's eyes, the blank embrace of innocence when she returned from the other side of the light where everything wept as it was loved and forgotten. It's your turn. It's always your turn, the night says. Faces. Blake talked about seeing marks of woe in them. City'll do that to you. Tall tombstones we call buildings, homes, faces and windows we see every day but never know. The longer one remains in the city, the more that dreadful sense of alienation sets in. So close to so many people, touching them, hearing them, breathing the same moist air. Nameless. Barely any identity. Through the walls we hear them scream, fuck, eat, stomp, cry, 1,000 of the most intimate moments. Sides of us we might not even show to those closest and dearest to us, broadcast for every other tenant in the Faceless block to hear. Same goes for the night. Once you belong to it, everything else fades like the pulse of a dying man. Yet how intimate we are with the alienated, scurrying figures of mortals that move through alleys and shadows like mice in the walls of our empire, of our domain. Our fangs sink into their flesh, pierce them, enter them in a way most profane and most satisfying and most delicious. In turn, their vitae enters our own bodies, this precious fluid of life. Some of us who in life would not touch a door handle in a restaurant without washing our hands immediately now gorge ourselves and ingest the foulest of blood from the foulest of human dregs without batting an eye. That is the power of the beast, of its hunger, unquenchable. And still, in spite of this empirical proof to the contrary, There are still those among us who pretend to have free will and shreds of humanity left. Lies, like the night, cloak our kind in the softest, darkest velvet. Didn't take very long, Margot, for you to find a bar. A place to forget some of the things that you'd seen. What is on Margot's mind as she stumbles in, pulls up a seat at the bar and orders something? What's going on in her mind?
Margot is thinking about her husband. The catalyst to the last 200 years of her life. A man that was so obsessed with control and maintaining a simple housewife that it drove him to create a monster, a ghost. And she sort of is just mulling over those last few days in that house before he took her to the asylum and what sort of man he had become and how he got there, and the similarity between her husband and the terrible child, her tormentor, in just a different way, but a tormentor nonetheless.
All around you, it's becoming difficult to see the faces of the people. They all sort of blend in, blur together. The shadows in the room seem to deepen. As you have a few drinks, you start looking around. It's a bit of a sports bar. There are a few TVs around. Every bar in Montreal is a sports bar. It's always some hockey or something on, but there are a few TVs around. You see a number of 25 coin casino machines, very popular in these kinds of street bars. Every screen you look into as you peer around the room is black, filled with darkness. The people around you don't seem to notice, but you see in all of them, you see in the reflection in the mirror behind the bar, you see in the reflection of spilled liquor on the bar, writhing darkness. You see slowly emerging from this darkness and all these reflections a red shape you know well, a face that even though you've never seen it, you know well. You don't know what happened to him. As soon as everything started happening in the room, with Vico falling through the doorway to the abyss and the tentacles coming out and you and Fiona trying to help him, Elise leaving with Cecilia, you lost track of l'enfant terrible. It's hitting you now. Where did he go? What the fuck happened to him? You didn't see his body. No one talked about stopping him, fighting him. You had him. You had him. He was right there in front of you.
I think in all of her years of this self-inflicted loneliness, Margot understands what it means to become an obsessive. And in this moment, she is obsessing. And namely on just what she can do to finish what has been started.
As you're contemplating this, the bartender leans over and pours in another shot and goes, "Well, you look sad. You alright?"
I think it startles her a little bit, and she sort of jumps back in her seat and looks up at him.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm fine. Thank you, though.
Another one? Are you good?
I'm good.
You driving?
No.
He looks at you a little strangely. Takes the bottle, turns away, walks off. As he does, you notice again behind him in the bar this red reflection haunting you, staring at you from behind all the piled bottles. You feel its intent glare from behind that mask, burrowing into you, and a strange thought occurs to you a little bit, that he has made so many women suffer because they shared part of their lives with him. You self-inflict isolation. You do not see anyone. You do not contact anyone, and yet he still tortures you, even in his absence. It's like this unending power, whether he's there or not. What do you do?
I make a decision. And very quickly, I scribble down a couple of notes on a bar napkin. And I pay my tab. And I get up and I start for the door.
Where are you off to?
I'm paying a visit to Ruby Foo.
Fiona, why did you take Tanner?
I feel like Fiona probably has some sort of warehouse on the East End that she conducts business in.
You call anyone else? You have Bruno with you in the car.
Oh, I have Bruno. I don't think I'm going to call anyone else just yet. It's a bit of a private affair.
You've taken him to this warehouse somewhere in the old port. Isolated, quiet, nothing much around it. You look up to the sky as you drive into the access in the back and realize that there's not that much time left. There's a few hours before dawn. It feels like time's always in very short supply these days, even for someone immortal. What's going through your mind as you pull into the warehouse with this man, Tanner Brooks, in your clasp?
I think that there is a white-hot rage. And while it may only be a few hours until dawn, Fiona is thinking that this man is not going to last much more than an hour, based off of what she will do to him.
The car pulls up. Bruno gets out, comes around. Tanner's hands have been zip-tied. He's just been staring at you the whole time. As Bruno opens the door and goes to pull Tanner out, Tanner says, "Do you think you're gonna get away with this?"
Get away with what, love?
Whatever the fuck you think you're gonna do to me?
Do you really think that you'd get away with blocking me from getting a new headquarters? From whatever higher up shit that you're doing? You think you'd actually get away with that? Bruno, what's the dossier on this fuck?
Well, we don't got much on them. It's their first time encountering this Brooks, is it? Tanner Brooks? Yeah, so our dossier is a little bit light on him, but we do know that he works for Paragon Crisis Management, and that is somehow tied to les entreprises du Lys Noir, and that through this man and through his connection at City Hall, specifically one city councilwoman, there's been a lot of difficulty finding a new home for ourselves and our enterprise. And as he's doing this, Bruno is kind of hauling him out and kind of manhandling him and bringing him to the center of the room and sitting him on a chair. And it's kind of like got that set up from like a movie. There's like just a couple of hanging lamps, like these big lamps that mechanics would use to work on their cars, like with the big red yellow handle kind of just sort of hanging down. And it sits him down on a chair in the middle of the room. He's like, so really when it comes down to it, we know that he's a fuckhead and that he works for a bunch of fuckheads and that he's been doing fuckhead things to our people. Does that about cover it, Mr. Brooks? Brooks just gives him a bit of a wolfish grin. Looks back at you. What the fuck do you want with me anyways?
Oh, just a chat. To let you know that you're going to greenlight a new place for us, considering the fact that someone exploded it. You're also going to tell us whatever the fuck you're up to with this Paragon Crisis Management and its connections to the Black Lily.
No.
That's hilarious. And Fiona gets up, pulls out one of her knives from her hip, and lops his ear off.
What the fuck? What the fuck? He starts screaming as blood starts to pour down. What's your hunger at, by the way?
Ooh, what is my hunger at? 1.
Oh, okay, you're good. He's like, what the fuck are you doing, you crazy fucking bitch? And he's like, kind of trying to get away from you. Bruno seems a little bit surprised by this. Like, it went from 0 to 100. Like, he expected it to go to 100, but you kind of bypassed every number in between, and he's kind of a little surprised, but then he reaches and he grabs him and he holds him. He's like, shut up, buddy, shut up, buddy. You got another one. You're okay. You talk fast enough.
I hold the ear and I go, is this thing on? Did you hear me properly? I said you're going to fucking tell me every fucking thing that I want to know about Paragon Crisis Management and the connection to the Black Lily. And I drop it on the table in front of him.
You can see that he's doing his best to try and kind of focus and sort of regain control of himself.
God,
you really are fucking as crazy as they say you are. Jesus fucking Christ.
You don't think I got as far as I did in life by being a fucking pushover now, did you?
Yeah, maybe you did. Maybe you did get fucking far, or you think you got far, but you didn't get anywhere. You're still a fucking cockroach running around the fucking street. You're not getting anything done. You're not doing anything. You're making enemies. That's about it. You kept kicking the hornet's nest. You kept fucking kicking at it. Now people have your number. I walk up to Bruno
while he's just rambling, and I reach into Bruno's jacket pocket and I pull out a pair of needle nose pliers and I just dig right underneath one of his fingernails and start to pull. Sorry, what were you saying?
Fuck! God damn it! Stop! Stop it! Fucking enough!
What's Paragon Crisis Management, love?
It's my company. We fucking manage crises.
I'm managing a crisis right now, so, and I keep pulling on his finger.
You fucking create the crises. That's what you do. Fucking professional agitator, starting fucking riots, inciting people to looting and vandalism and fucking setting cop cars on fire and what the fuck else? You think you're really helping people by doing that?
I'm sorry. And I release the fingernail and I look him dead, like I get crouched down a little bit and look him dead in the eye and I go, are you a fucking cop? Because that sounds a lot like cop language. The cops are always the ones who are worried about the looting and all of that and the property damage. And you don't give one good fucking goddamn about the people who are hurt along the way, do you? You care more about keeping your pocket fat. Now, are you a cop?
You know that's just a thing in the movies, right?
I bend down and I yank that fingernail out.
God damn it! You wanna know who I am? You wanna know what I am, what I can do? You've got my phone, right? Open it, check the last fucking video that got downloaded. You wanna see who the fuck I am? Take a good fucking look.
Started your OnlyFans, did you? Bruno, phone.
Bruno grabs the phone that you took off of him earlier, and he's like, he hands it over to you. He's like, yeah, probably need to put up in front of his face.
Oh.
You do that, you hear a little beep.
Just for safety's sake, why don't you give me your passcode too?
1-800, fuck you.
I go for another fingernail. I'm like, you want to try one?
7611.
Bruno, write it down. Make sure it works.
He does.
I look at that first video.
You see, it's kind of jumbled for a bit, and then it's clearly someone's cell phone. And you see the back of a car, and you see a gloved hand reach and open the back of the car, and the trunk opens, and bound up and gagged in the back of the car, you see Chris Tockner. Yeah, talking out of school, little Mr. Tockner was. Telling lies, spreading stories, calling the people we don't want to be called, and here he is now, and I wonder where he's gonna be spending the night.
That's good. I reached just very slowly and like pat his hand on the bloody one where I pulled a fingernail off, and I slide my little fingers down to the one that's missing a fingernail, and I grab it and I just snap it up. Just like it were a like baby carrot.
And as the snap echoes through the room, followed by a scream and the muffled sound of Chris Tockner in the back of the car through the video. Over yonder, at the house of the Tremere Regent, Jacob Fletcher and his child, Elise. Elise, you arrived back home and asked Faraday to bring Cecilia to one of the rooms in the back, and just to check to make sure that she was not hurt. Vico was pretty banged up, and he and Fletcher went into Fletcher's office. As you are moving through the corridors and heading towards the room where Faraday has Cecilia, what's going through your mind? What are you thinking about? What's happening with you?
Her main focus right now is making sure that this is truly Cecilia. The terrible child put a great deal of doubt inside of her, and she wants to verify this any way that she can, or thinks that she can.
As you move through, you pass near Fletcher's office. You hear as you approach Fletcher and Vico talking. You can smell the blood wine that they're drinking. You take a gander, you see Fletcher's got a whole bunch of books out. A bunch of them are open, a few of them are on the floor, others are on the desk. Vico's lounging in a chair, his legs out, and drinking blood wine and trying to heal his wounds. Well, Fletcher's going through the books. You lend an ear, and you hear Fletcher say, "The infinite maw, the all-devourer, the grand maw." That's where they got grandmother from. Mother of the Malfians, Christ. I mean, she's supposed to be asleep beneath the underworld, Vico says. My friend Decimus believes she was awoken by the great maelstrom last year when the Harbingers struck at the Giovannis and killed Augustus. The Harbingers? Cappadocians. Hecata now, I guess. They need to work on branding. I thought they were extinct, Fletcher says. Biko nods. They were near enough, but not enough, it seems. There's a feud that dates back to the 1400s in Constantinople. It's carried through the centuries until last year in Venice. Fletcher looks at him with an arched eyebrow. Were you there? Biko shakes his head. No, I didn't exist until Toisachel died in 1579, but things are happening. Gehenna, the return of the elders, it started something. All the old enemies are stirring. There's someone you could talk to. He just recently arrived in Montreal. His name's Nicholas. He's of my blood. He knows more than I do about the Malfians. Fletcher closes the book, throws it on the desk, goes, fucking Christ, as if we didn't have enough fucking trouble. He plops down and sits down in his chair and reaches for his goblet of wine. The two of them fall into a contemplative silence. What do you do, Elise?
Elise is paused just beyond the door frame, on tiptoes, bare tiptoes, and as she's listening to them talk, there's a bit of a smile across her face. Not because of the subject matter, but for the fact that the two are getting along much different than what Vico said would happen. And a part of her enjoys just listening to Fletcher converse with another creature outside of herself, or the silly little humans that she brings around their home. But she's gonna move along. She's not going to disturb their peace. She knows how Fletcher is when he's working, and these are things that she can ask him later. She is on a mission right now, and that is to go check in on Cecilia and perhaps get some of her own answers this evening.
You find Cecilia in one of the drawing rooms. There are nice, comfortable couches there. The lighting is dimmed. It's a nice, quiet place to have a conversation, not one of the places where you would normally have a party or anything like that. You arrive to find Faraday finishing cleaning off a couple of the little nicks and wounds that Cecilia had. She's seems a little bit out of sorts. She's sort of staring away. There's a kind of distance in her eyes, and Faraday notices you coming in and gets up and comes over to you and says, she's obviously under some shock. I think that regardless of the fact that she was connected to Margot, knowledgeable about Margot, I don't think she is very much aware of our world. I think she's feeling a little out of sorts with some of the things that she saw tonight.
Has she said anything?
How much she's asked for Margot. She's asked if she was going to come and find her or get her soon. She hasn't asked about what's went down. I think shock. She's healthy, though. She wasn't too injured by any of the things, just bumps and bruises.
Good. Has she had anything to eat or drink?
Not yet. I go and get her something right now if you want, if you don't mind staying along with her.
Yes, perhaps some of those lovely little pastries in the kitchen, and a glass of wine, maybe, to ease her nerves. The good stuff that, Fletcher likes to hoard away sometimes. I think it's deserving.
I'll take care of it. Do you want me to try and reach Margot, or?
If you could, yes. I'm worried about her a bit.
Alright. I'll be back in a few minutes. He steps out.
Elise is going to walk very calmly over to Cecilia. Where is she sitting? What is kind of the backdrop here?
She's sitting on one of the big leather couches. Faraday had been sitting next to her while he was tending to her, and there's a table in front of her, like a little coffee table, and there's a few of the first aid things. Behind her is a bit of space. There's like a small reading table with a desk lamp and a chair, and then beyond that is the wall with bookshelves. There would be some windows in the room also, but the windows, the drapes and stuff open right now because it's still dark outside.
She's going to take a seat on the couch next to Cecilia.
He looks at you nervously.
How are you faring, darling?
Where's Margot?
Faraday is going to go try and call her now.
Who are you? You
Her
friends
name
of
is
Margot?
Elise. I am.
Margot never said anything about you.
Well, you see, we're only just new friends. That doesn't surprise me. You can relax here. We won't hurt you.
when they came to get me tonight, they came to me and said that there was a phone call for me that it was Margot, and that's why I went with them. And then they grabbed me and they pulled me with a couple other people and they put us in those bags. So you'll excuse me if I'm not feeling too comforted by your claims of being friends with Margot.
I understand. Do you remember anything else? Anything before?
Just what I told you, we were just serving, catering. They came to get me, and we went to a room upstairs, and
Who is they?
some of the security men that were there.
Did you see anybody else?
Just that, the one in the red hood and the red apron, and he was there, but he was just watching the others work and telling them what to do, and they tied us up and they put us in those bags upside down like pieces of meat.
And do you remember anything else from then on?
I remember when you came in and pulled us out of the bags, and then it seemed like people were fighting, and you pulled me out and we ran out, and that thing in red came after us, and you hissed at him and he turned and ran, and then
I
we were in
wasn't
the
going to
truck.
let him take you again.
And when she says that, she reaches out and places a hand over Cecilia's. Part of her is trying to reassure her, but another part of her is looking for a reaction in her touch.
When you touch her, she kind of and sort of pulls away a little bit, and she starts to shake.
She will reassure her with a shh. Is she looking at her currently?
Is she looking at you?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think she's kind of avoiding your eyes. Like, she's kind of looking at you, but she's kind of nervous and can't really kind of hold your gaze. So she's kind of doing that, staring off into the side that I do to Kato sometimes.
Blake wants to die. Elise is going to lift that hand and take Cecilia's chin and very softly lift her chin to meet her gaze. And when she does this, first off, I guess that Cecilia's do their gazes meet?
Yeah, eventually she kind of looks up and looks into your eyes.
Sorry, I'm a very noisy boy in here. Elise is going to say,
I'm going to need you to be very, very still for me. Can you do that?
and she uses compel as she says this.
Someone was invading my home, so I missed what you said just before you said, and she uses compel. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah. She says,
I'm going to need you to be very, very still for me. Can you do this?
Yes.
Like a stone.
and holding her eyesight, she's going to take Cecilia's finger from her hand that she had touched previously and bring it to her mouth, and she's going to take the tiniest little cut across her incisor.
Shh.
She
Only
can't
sting
move
for
because
a
of the...
moment.
And then she will taste the blood there from her finger.
And as you taste the blood from her finger, Margot, go ahead and make your roll, Elise, in the meantime, so when we come back to you, we will know what's in. Margot, you find yourself arriving once more at the Ruby Foos. It's very quiet. You know when you left that there was like some sort of riot going on. There were people, hot rods, bicycles, like there's people running everywhere shouting. There was basically a riot going on. People were fleeing the hotel. There were cops on the whole 9 yards. And you get there and completely deserted and completely quiet. Almost as if there was never ever anything there. The orange julep across the street is dark. All the cars have gone home.
What time of night are we looking at? How close am I to sunrise?
Very close. By this point, maybe about an hour and a half.
Okay. I'm quick on my steps to get inside then. I'm not really taking stock of what is and isn't around. I just want to get behind doors and away from the impending sunrise.
You walk into the lobby, close the doors behind you. Again, it's very still, almost as if no one had been here, but you know there were a lot of people here earlier. As soon as you shut the doors and shut out the sounds of the city, which is already pretty quiet, being the hour that it is, you feel both the emptiness of the place, the stillness of it. You feel somewhere off in the distance the presence of Ruby, the Zimshi.
Margot. Oh, sorry.
No, that's it.
Margot takes a moment as she enters a very liminal space. I feel like if she could, she would sweat just from the pressure that she feels from her own doings. But she doesn't linger long. She looks for the closest stairwell and starts making her way up back to Ruby.
You walk up unimpeded and eventually find yourself in that same hallway that you saw earlier. The hallway that is lined with these strange statues made of flesh and sinew and bone. Strange light playing in them as the veins that are attached to them. And now that you look at it and now that you see that blood is coursing through these veins, those little tables beneath them must be hiding something. Hearts, lungs, maybe something mechanical that is pumping blood through and creating this strange sort of macabre lava lamp effect in each of these.
Is there any way for me to look inside one of these tables just to take a peek?
You approach it. Sure, I'm going to have you go ahead and give me a... see what I could have you do for funds. Give me a wits and investigation.
I love that. My mouse was hovering.
Actually, I was going to say larceny, actually. If that's okay with you. Wits and larceny. I feel like
I have points in larceny, so yeah. Actually, it's so crazy that you say that. One success. One regular success.
One success. You poke and prod and you can find no seams, no hinges, no handles, nothing on these strange boxes. But when you hold it, you feel a rhythmic pumping, like there is something sort of beating or pumping in there, and you can feel it just barely in your fingertips as you touch the box.
I think Margot just takes a moment to consider what she's experiencing right now and very quietly whispers to herself, "What the fuck?" But moves on. She doesn't want to linger on this. She has intent right now.
As you move down the hall, you notice the panel that hid the door where L'Enfant Terrible was. The panel is still open. The door itself is also ajar. You know, at the other end of the hall is Ruby's room, and in this room is where you encountered L'Enfant Terrible and saw the portal to the abyss that almost led you to fall right into the lap of Grandmother.
Do I see anybody in there if I stop and take a peek?
You take a peek. You remember the number of old TVs that were stacked up against a wall. They're still there. They're all still turned to dead channels with just snow and color bars and some of them. They're all still on. You hear, now that you're leaning in, the strangest piece of music, because you've heard before the song Ne me quitte pas. But this is not done by Jacques Brel. It's done by somebody else, someone who doesn't speak French. The words are labored and slowed down, and you can kind of sense that they're spoken phonetically, almost as if someone is playing the original version at a slow pace on an old record player. But you hear the words, Ne me quitte pas, do not leave me.
I move on.
You move on, soon finding yourself at the other end of the room with that other macabre statue there of the rib cage with all the lungs and liver and heart and all that all still caught up inside in some sort of strange fleshy gelatin. The brain sitting atop the spine. And behind it, the door.
I just want to move past those horrible statues as quickly as possible, and I'm going to try the door and open it.
You put your hand on the handle, turn it. It opens. The door. You push it. It moves. You see into the room, and you now see the bed at the other end of the room with the veils on either side. And you can tell that there's someone on the bed behind these veils. There's a wet sound of labored breathing coming from somewhere, and you look over to the right and you see, once again, that strange wall with faces of a number of people embedded in them, this fleshy wall with these victims caught in it. You can hear their breathing.
I step further into the room and stand at the end of the bed, just a few paces back. I don't mean to disturb you.
And yet you do.
I figured it was better for me to come here and tell you my intent than for you to think that I'm disrespecting you.
You have not come for me, though, have you?
No.
You see the figure on the bed move behind the veils. You can just see the outline of it. You can see the horns and the angular face, the bone face that you remember. Then what had you come for?
I think we both know the answer to that.
Well, you will not find them here in this room.
No, but I wanted to at least make a presence to you, Elder, and make you aware of my intention.
You hear the distinct scratching sound of her fingernails on her bony face. Your good manners are noted. Do what you must.
I think that Ruby would see that Margot is at the end of the line for herself. That if she doesn't do this, then she'll snap, perhaps, but she's tired looking. She's just so exhausted.
Don't fret so, dear. I will find some good use for your parts if you stay here.
I hate to ask you for more help. I hate to be further in your debt. But I need to know where he is.
Where he's always been. Waiting for you. The room down the hall. Inside of you. In your mind. Wherever you go.
And when I'm done killing him, have I put you out?
They'll send somebody else. They will pay. They owe. 23 and 3.
If I make it out, if I do what I want to do, what I need to do, and I make it out, I owe you a life debt, Ruby.
After tonight, I fear that will not be worth much.
Is there something you know that I don't?
My dear, you could stun an entire team of oxen in their tracks with the sheer tonnage of what I know that you don't.
Should I be afraid?
You already are. Now, do what you must. Leave me. The sun is coming. The dirt from my homeland calls to me. And you notice as she shifts and moves that a little bit of dirt falls off of her bed and onto the ground. And you notice that she's lying in a whole bunch of soil on the bed.
Margot just whispers a very quiet thank you and goes for the door.
And as you turn for the door, back in the warehouse, Fiona, you have seen the video of your contact, Chris Tockner, bound and gagged in the back of a car. You have snapped this man's finger and cut his ear off. He's screaming in pain. Bruno seems a little unsure. He's not put out, or he's seen you get really mad before. And he's thinking he probably doesn't want to be here if you get that mad.
Bruno,
Yeah, boss.
I need you to find Chris Tockner. Make sure he's safe.
All right. I'm gonna need the phone so I can see what I can find on it.
By all means, you know protocol. Also, drum up some foot soldiers, send them our way if we need them.
Yeah. You gonna be okay here?
I'll be fine. Just thinking about having a friend for dinner.
Just... This guy's got friends. Someone's gonna miss him, just so you know.
I appreciate the warning, Bruno. But some things are unforgivable. And I've got a feeling that beyond just keeping it so we can't pay rent somewhere nice is the least of his sins. I think this man has a reckoning.
I'll come back later and clean up.
I appreciate you. You're getting a pay rise.
You know, I don't do it for the money, boss. I'm a true believer.
That's bullshit.
All right. He takes the phone and, without even another look at Tanner, heads for the car, gets in, starts it. Rolls the window down, looks at you. Sun up in about an hour and a half.
This will only be 30 minutes.
You want me to come back and pick you up, or?
Yes.
Okay. He drives off. Tanner, meanwhile, is kind of out of it a little bit.
Stick with it, honey. We've got a lot to talk about. And you've got a very short window in order to do it.
You can keep breaking, you can keep pulling. You gotta understand something. I'm way more afraid of them than I am of you.
Who is them?
The Black Lilies.
What are the Black Lilies?
Business people. Worst fucking kind. They're a fucking group of business people that have been guiding this province from the shadows for a long time.
How long is long?
I personally don't know, but there's rumors that it's been since the 30s, 40s.
Really? Interesting.
They're deep in the government on all levels. They control all of the business. They do what they want. And you're just a gnat. Wasn't about them. And now they've taken notice of you, and now they're gonna squash you. Because the shit you do, instability, riots, things of that nature, that's bad for business.
Now, surely that's more than gnat status. Tell me, who was it exactly that found out my office and blew it up? And why are you helping Block from getting a new one?
As to your first question, I don't know, but it wasn't us. It was somebody else. As to your second question, well, they're not the ones to pass up a good opportunity. They saw you on your heels. They want to keep you there. They don't want to squash you completely because then someone else just rises in your place. They just want to keep you running around like a fucking chicken without a head. And as to the other question that you asked me earlier, Fiona, the wolf. I'm not a cop. But I used to be. I used to be a cop. And there's two things you can take to the bank with that. One, I broke fuckers like you by the dozens. And two, you know how it works. Once a cop, always a cop. You're not going to get away with this. Now that you've done this, they're going to make it a point of pride to fucking find you and crucify you in the public place. They're going to find every little shit detail you've ever done, anything you've fucking ever lied about or broken, and they're going to fucking put you down.
You know what it is I don't like about you fucking cops? It's not the fact that you're self-entitled, you blow through traffic signs, you couldn't give a fuck about your spouses, that you have this level of like grandiosity with which you parade around the world. No. There are plenty of people like that. It's the fact that you've been on the wrong side of history this entire fucking time.
Wrong side of history.
Do you
We
not
write
know
history.
anything? Do you not know anything about police?
We write history. That's what we do. And I'm not talking about the police right now. I'm talking about people like me and people like the Black Lilies. You're nothing. You mean nothing to them. They control everything. They decide everything. And the only reason you're still here right now is because they want you to be. It's just a matter of time, Fiona, before they get really tired of you. And now that you've assaulted a former police officer with tons of friends on the force, well, your time's running really fucking short. So do yourself a favor. Untie me. Call me a goddamn fucking Uber. And fuck on off to the shadows where you came from. And it's the only time I'm going to give you that opportunity.
All right, Brooks. You're an Uber. And her fangs go out, and she goes right for his neck.
Describe to us what that looks like. As you munch on him.
Leaps across the table, catches air, lands full force on his chest, knocking the chair back. And she's got these very long fangs. Oh, they're almost Gangrel-esque, very wolf-like. And they extend, and her eyes go full white, and she bites into his neck. And she draws blood so quickly and so violently. I do believe I have... Oh, no, I don't have that. I thought I had a feeding thing, but I'm realizing that that is Amma who has that. Mixing up my vampire characters.
Oh, no.
I think I drain him in probably 4 or 5 good pulls.
Go ahead and give me a willpower check.
Ooh.
Willpower's under health, under your physical skills.
Got it. That is 1 success.
There's a parasite inside of you. There's something living inside of you. Most call it the beast. Some call it the hunger. But it's alien, and it's its own thing, and it sits right down in the pit of your stomach. And when you get really hungry or when you get close to losing control, that's the thing that takes over. And you feel it right now, clawing and reaching out and trying to take control as you let your rage and your anger and your hatred for this man and what he stands for guide you, and you gorge on his blood. You feel the beast just wanting to be let out, just wanting to be let go. You have 1 willpower success. You can, if you want, hold the beast back. Do you want to or not?
I want to, because Fiona's not an idiot.
You stop seeing red. You are sitting on the floor in front of Tanner. He looks almost deflated. His head hanging low, the front of his shirt covered entirely in blood, most of his neck ripped out. And you sit there in a pool of blood, just completely drenched in it. You realize some time has passed. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15. Your phone starts to ring.
Yes.
I heard some major riot broke out at the Julep. Was that you? Costa's voice.
Couldn't be me, Costa. Couldn't be me.
And as you begin your conversation with Costa, over yonder, at the Tremere household, Elise, you have put the tip of Cecilia's finger in your mouth. You have cut it. You have bitten just the tip of it. Just the tip. What would you like to do?
I'm using my taste for blood ability. There is no rouse check, and it is resolve and blood sorcery. It gives me kind of an idea of who this person is. It doesn't go into too much like depth. Like I can't learn like her name out of it or anything like that. But let's see. Let's roll. I'm gonna go ahead and use a night move as well because we have so many.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 2 successes on that.
Did we get the 9 moves up on the in the chat, Raven? I don't know if you've done it. You probably have, but if you could put them up again. 2 successes?
Yeah.
It's very confusing. You bite into her, taste the blood, enact your power. At first you see Cecilia. Then, slowly, you get the same sensation or impression of the blood you got when you first did this to Maria. And that is very confusing, and then it changes again, and it's the same resonance that Fletcher has, that Laurence has, then it switches, it's Marjolaine's, then a number of other people, all these people whose resonance you've tasted in your life. Their taste intermingle in your mouth as you taste the blood. She stares at you. You see her eyes look up. You hear the door close and you see Faraday come back in. And as he walks in with a tray and puts it next to her, you start tasting the resonance of his blood in your mouth. And Cecilia looks at him and then looks at you. What did you find?
What could Elise deduce from this?
You have no clue. You have never encountered that before. But she's looking at you with a different way now. She's got a very knowing, dark look in her eyes.
Who are you?
Anyone you want me to be. And as she says that, she reaches out and her hand extends just long enough to stab into Faraday's chest as he's bending down with the tray. He gasps, drops the tray, the wine and the food spill on the ground. Her hand buries itself into his chest, and as it does, she looks at you and you can see her physically starting to change into Faraday. And she smiles again, and as she smiles this time, you watch her mouth open up as it continues to open, and it distends, and rows upon rows of sharp teeth.
Okay, question. If Elise were to scream for Fletcher, could he hear her from this space?
Yes.
I'm not gonna scream. She does that, though. And his name is a blood-curdling scream.
And it's cut off as this enormous maw that's in front of you lashes out and wraps around your face, and the teeth bury down into the skin and the bones around your head, and you feel yourself being crushed by the mouth of this thing. You're in a dark room, Elise. You're lying on the ground. You see beneath you runes, a ritual circle. You're lying in it, as you have so many times, naked, and you watch as the symbols, the tattoos on your body are moving. And as the black ink of them moves, all these different symbols and images that Fletcher has inked into your flesh and time start to merge and become this strange black spiral right in the middle of your chest. You notice around the room, stepping out of the darkness and coming to sit just outside the circle where you are, all the people that have been involved with this so far. Laurence, you see her brother Seb, Marjolaine, Narcisse. All these different people that have been drawn to you come and sit around the circle, chanting at the base of their throat a dark song. What do you want me to be? Who do you want me to be? You hear from the darkness. The symbol on your chest has now become this spiral black that is just moving languorously from the darkness in front of you. You see Maria approach. You hear Maria's voice say, "This is who you want me to be." Yes, I see it now. This is you want me to be. She steps forward into the circle with you.
you.
She kneels down next to you.
Why are you doing this to me?
Because someone is going to need to be you. And she drapes herself over you, and her mouth falls on yours. Back at the hotel.
What the fuck?
Bones.
Yep.
You approach the door. The TVs,
Okay.
you can still hear him. What do you do?
Margot enters very quietly, but by this point she has drawn her asp. And she uses it to open the door.
You open the door with your asp. You walk into the room. The dark portal isn't there anymore, but the images you had seen on the wall are still there. For those of you who might be wondering, the symbol that is now on Elise's chest happens to be the spiral that's on this wall beneath the black crown. You walk into the room, it still smells of sweat and blood and flesh. The floor, the carpet is still sticky with old blood. You see the imprints in this carpet of where Vico was lying on the ground, where you and Fiona fought. The arms of the grandmother. I'm glad you came. I was starting to wonder if you would.
I look to the voice.
Standing in the corner in the shadows, barely visible, is l'enfant terrible. Standing there in his red coat and his red apron and the red hood over his face.
I think Margot reaches into one of her pockets of that old army surplus jacket and just makes sure that those 2 little napkins are still there before she very slowly removes the jacket and hangs it over the nearest piece of furniture. And she very quietly whispers to it, "God, I hope you find this." Before finally turning to the red monster. Did you expect me to delay any further?
Before you kill me, can I ask you one question?
Ask.
These people I've hurt, all these women, why didn't you protect them? Could it be you don't want them to be protected? You just want to avenge them? You want to beat and punish the men, not protect the women. You're not an angel. You're just wrath. It's just self-serving pleasure.
You got one thing right about that. She starts to step towards him closer.
He pulls from behind on his belt this bone saw.
One thing is right. I'm not an angel. Far from it. And perhaps this is a little bit self-serving, and perhaps it's men like you that need to be punished. Perhaps it's this control you think you have over these women, and maybe inside of every single one of them, I see me, but you got one thing right. I am Wrath. And I'm going to hit him with my asp.
He is going to attempt to defend himself.
Okay.
As you come at him.
I'm going to go ahead and use an advantage.
Go for it.
Oops. Oh, shit. I bungled it. It's 2 or 1?
An advantage gives you 2 extra dice.
Excellent. I got 6 successes, and it is a critical success. Regular critical.
All right, he had 4 successes. You come forward towards him, and he's got his bonesaw out, and as you lunge for him, he very kind of awkwardly, like he's not someone who really knows how to fight, he just sort of lunges at you, and you very easily kind of bat aside that bone saw and then smash him in the face with the club. You hear the crunching of bone and his scream of pain, and you can see part of the mask get darker where the blood is now kind of seeping out, and he stumbles back and he takes like a few step backs, and now he's kind of like between you and the wall, and he's shaking and he's holding his face, and because he can't see right now, he's just kind of swinging blindly with his bone saw. What would you like to do?
I'd like to hit him again in the knees.
Go for it. Give me a roll.
Okay. I'm going to use another night move.
Okay.
That's 3 successes.
3 successes. You swing down and you feel the satisfying crunch as your ass bear just snaps his knee off and he crumbles to the ground. As he does, the bone saw kind of goes flopping over and he hits the ground. Hit me harder, you whore. Come on, do it. Come on.
Is he on his back?
He's kind of like on his side because he kind of crumbled when the leg buckled. But you could kick him and just roll him over if you wanted.
She's not going to kick him to do this. I think with a surprising amount of gentleness, she rolls him onto his back and straddles him like a lover. There is an inherent sexuality about this moment and the position in which she's taken.
Come on. Come on, you know you want it. You didn't climb all the way up here to stop now, did you? Come on.
Oh,
Come on, give into it.
I'm going to savor this. And she's going to reach forward and snatch that fucking mask off his head.
And as you pull it off, it's hard at first to see because the nose is broken and there's blood everywhere. And as you look down, you see your husband's face. But that's impossible. That can't be. It's not. It's Dr. Micho's face. It keeps moving. It's Vico's face. It's Elise's face. It's Fiona's face. It's strangers you've never seen before. All these faces, one after the other, just moving around.
I would like to try to do something, and you can tell me if I can't do it. I want Margot to be able to focus on one of the faces, one face in particular. Henri's face, her husband, who has been dead for at least the last 150 years.
After a few minutes, which feels like a few minutes, probably not that long, it becomes his face. There's a blurriness to it. Some of the details are a little bit off. But if you saw him quickly, you would be certain it's him.
You left me there. In that sanatorium with that doctor. And you thought I would be lobotomized. You thought I wouldn't be hysterical anymore. I'd be all better, and I can be the perfect housewife. And then I became a ghost. And on Ghost, she's going to raise the asp up and start bashing down on his face.
You pulverize his face. He doesn't say anything else anymore. You just bash and bash and bash and lose yourself in that violence. There's something about it that feels cathartic, but at the same time, empty. You know it's not him. You know that he's hurt so many people that this doesn't do much, but there is something about it that satisfies a very selfish part of you. The thing you could never do, you now get to do. And as his blood drips down your face and down your arms, and gore, more blood drips off your asp. Fiona. So that was you? The riot? The julep? What was that all about? You don't like cars?
Do I know about this riot? This isn't me.
That's the riot that you started. That your guys started over the julep.
Oh, it was at the Julep, which is near the Ruby Foos. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was like, what? I forgot that was there. Yeah, that was me. How the fuck did you get out of Eco's?
Oh, after you and the others abandoned me very summarily. Let's just say that time was on my side. What are you doing right now?
Having a chat, little dinner. Bruno's on his way back.
It's almost dawn.
Right. Yeah, I've got a blackout car, so he should be here any minute.
I have someone here who would like to meet you. Think you could manage a few minutes before the sun comes up?
Where is here, and who is this person I'm meeting?
Oh, I can come to you. Just let me know where you are. Someone you haven't seen in a long time.
Fiona pauses and looks at the viscera. Might be best if I come to you.
Trust me. Let me come to you.
Fiona doesn't trust this at all, but okay.
We good?
Right. Yeah, here's the address.
Oh, I know. I'm outside. And you hear the door open. And as the door opens, you see a figure walk into the place. And immediately, as you see her, you're taken back a long time ago in a speakeasy. Back when you were human. One night, one moment. Can you tell us about that moment? That memory that you would consider to be the sweetest memory you have of your time as a human?
The bar is very charming and dingy with these brick kind of almost like moist, dirty walls, the walls of a basement in New York City. Underneath where you'd open up the big doors that lead onto the sidewalk is how you get into the space. And the whole place is adorned with these kind of old car signs and ripped American flags and this slightly out of tune piano that sits there that occasionally on quieter nights they'll play. But tonight they brought in music. It's a band of musicians who are closeted queers. And this is the one space in this time where we are all allowed to be ourselves. And Fiona sits at the bar, nursing a Sazerac, and sees this long, lithe, bony, almost alien, androgynous-looking woman in a fine black suit with her hair done in very tight finger waves. She looks almost like a brunette Marlene Dietrich. And Fiona cannot stop staring as this woman makes her way over, sits down, and asks for a dance. And this is the space in which we are allowed to do that without question or judgment or fear of violence or worse. It's the one place that Fiona feels safe and doesn't feel hesitant. In a blink, she downs the last of her drink, stands up with enthusiasm in this sort of sleek emerald green shift dress, and takes this woman by the hand, and they start dancing. And it's a blur of gold and candlelight and jazz and smells of alcohol and laughter and cigarettes. It's the best day of her life.
And you see her again as she comes walking in to your warehouse, wearing dark leathers, her hair cut short. Thinking about that night?
Yeah.
You can almost hear the music.
Yeah, you can.
My name's Sadie.
Sure it is.
How have you been?
And she glances down, and she's still covered in gore. It's been an interesting night. Do you have time for a drink?
I have all the time in the world, fortunately. I'm
Yeah,
not the
I can
person who
see-
wants to see you right now. Someone else who wants to see you, but I thought it would only be right for me to step up first. Because it's because of me that you're here now.
Oh, what do you mean?
What she means, darling, says another voice that you recognize. As another woman comes up behind her. As always, Irene is cold and dispassionate. Not a trace of warmth in her appearance or her manner or her voice. She felt bad that she had scouted you for me. And so when I said I was coming to talk to you, she insisted. And she comes see you first. See Costa's with her.
Irene. How's it going, you fucking cunt?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
You haven't caught me on my finest day. Apologies, I just finished a meal.
From what Costa's telling me, the finest days have not been multiplying themselves lately.
Certainly not. The city's taken a turn, just like New York.
Well, maybe we can do something about that. She steps over and goes to Tanner's body and looks down at him. Looks at your handiwork. This man, I'm sure it felt good to kill him.
Gave me a tickle.
But would you agree that he would have been much more useful alive?
I got a fair amount of information out of him. Apologies that I couldn't keep my temper under control, Irene.
Anger has its use. Rage can carry you along. But the difference between feeling an emotion and displaying it is the gulf that you have to train yourself not to cross.
Ever the fucking Buddhist weird affirmations, Irene. Fuck, you speak in riddles. Just say it like it is.
You have to allow your rational mind to make the important decisions, Fiona. I've been away too long. I see that the beast that calls your blood its home has grown powerful and gotten its claws deep into you.
Well, when you're kicked out like a fucking stray, yeah, you learn how to act like a stray.
Well, maybe it's time we rectify that.
An apology would be nice.
There's rarely ever time for that. She steps over to Tanner and she puts a hand on him. And you watch as his wounds start to close. The blood goes back inside of him. Almost as if things are moving backward. He's not healing. It's literally the blood is going back up his clothes and back inside of him. The skin is closing on his neck. And in a moment, he takes a breath and looks at you. Now he can be useful again.
That's a new one, Irene. You're going to have to teach me that one.
She gives you a smile. Let me show you something. Come along. You'll be fine here. You'll find him here alive and well tomorrow. Send your men to get him and you can then use him again.
Well, I was never one to turn down leftovers.
Come on. Time's wasting.
Right.
As you follow her out, Elise, the vision of Maria has draped herself over you, and her mouth has found yours, and you feel her sort of sinking into you. Suddenly, you see light. You find yourself on the floor, in the room, Maria on top of you, dressed like Cecilia was a moment before. Her mouth still open and gaping wide. You see black tendrils wrapped around her. With barely any effort, pulling her away from you, you see that part of her body has already connected to yours. That your skin has sort of melded, and as she's ripped away from you, your skin starts to rip where you were connected to her. You take 3 wounds. 3 aggravated wounds. As she's ripped away from you and part of the skin of your neck rips off, you see Vico's come into the room, and his tendrils of shadows that have come out of a corner have grabbed Maria, Cecilia, whatever the thing is, and ripped her off of you and pulled her to the ground. Vico is moving towards you. You see Fletcher entering the room. What would you like to do?
I am going to try to scramble backwards out of this.
You start pulling back. You see that there's still part of you that's attached to this thing, whatever she is. And over yonder, on the ground, Faraday, lying in a pool of blood. Vico gets down and sort of tries to grab you and pull you away, and some of his tentacles come out and keep ripping at the skin that's tied to the skin of the thing that's being dragged away from you. It pulls you back. Fletcher walks into the room, looks, takes it all in. A look of deep concern crosses his face when he sees you. And he looks over at the thing. And he walks over to it, and very slowly, as it's getting off the ground and trying to come back towards you, he reaches out and grabs it by the back of the neck. He's mumbling under his breath, and in moments you see blood, boiling blood, start to erupt from the body of this creature, and it smells foul. It comes out in this dark, brackish, thick liquid. And he keeps murmuring and mumbling and casting incantations under his breath as he holds it, and his blood boils and it erupts from his flesh. And it starts to spread all over, and the room starts to smell like burnt blood. There's a moment of stillness. It's a fucking good idea, he says. Vico looks at you. Are you okay?
Would Elise know what that is?
Give me an occult roll. Give me an intelligence plus occult.
That's 2 successes.
You've heard the name mentioned before in relation to demonic creatures. You're not too sure exactly which one or how or whatever, but you've, in some research or lecture at some point, you heard Goetias mentioned as a form of demons.
When Vico asks her if she's okay, she doesn't hear him. It's that wah, wah, wah inside of her head as she's turning and looking to Faraday. She's fairly wounded at this point. I don't think she even stands. I think she crawls to him.
You get to him, you see that he has a large gaping wound in his chest just below where his heart is. You can see inside the wound there are bits and pieces of flesh from the demon that are clinging to him, moving almost kind of like larvae, sinking into him.
She grabs at those pieces. She tries to pull them out of him.
You reach into the wound with your fingers, you pull them out one by one, they stick to your flesh as you do so. Eventually, as you're pulling them out, you have 3, 4, 5 of them starting to burrow into your skin.
She turns to Fletcher. There are blood tears welled in her eyes as she does, and she holds up her hands covered in Faraday's blood, these parasites on them, and she sounds so small in this moment. Help me, Fletcher.
He's near
He can't
you.
die.
He's near you in a moment. He puts an arm around you, and with the other one he reaches down and feels for Faraday's pulse. He's dying. Save him or we have to lay him to rest.
What do you expect me to do, Fletcher?
There's only one thing. Or we end his suffering. Back at the hotel. As Avon wanders in. Hey Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Back at the hotel, around you, Bones, the TVs flare to life as the blood and the viscera and the gore drips from you. They flare to life, and in each of them, you see a different image of l'enfant terrible. A whole bunch of different voices. You hear them laugh. You should be happy, they say. There's so many of us for you to work out your rage on. We know you, Margot. We know everything about you. She has told us everything about you. She sees in the minds of everyone connected to her. She has seen what your Dr. Michaud knows of you. She has seen his notes about you. She has seen what's in your mind. We know everything about you, Margot. We are everywhere. And you belong to us. Kill as many as you want. We are nameless and faceless. And we are many.
Margot stands slowly from the body of the red monster. She had been hitting that same space where she has pulverized his face so hard, I think that there's probably a dent in the floor. She doesn't clean herself up. She is holding the asp loosely in one hand and stands before the TVs and watches them for a moment, and I think for that catharsis, she has a little bit of an adrenaline rush, and she laughs, and with one swing, bashes into the TVs.
They explode, showers of spark fly around you, electricity, the screens shattering, the glass flying everywhere, and even after you've destroyed all of them, their laughter echoes in the room. For a while. We know you, Margot. You belong to us.
I look back at that wall and I remember what Dr. Michaud has said, that I know how to close it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how to open it. And I start for the wall slowly, just briefly glancing back at that jacket, and I say so quietly again to myself, find it, Fiona. Fucking find it.
You run your hand along the wall, and it's not very long before you feel something, a presence, someone aware of you. And you remember how you did it with Vico in his apartment, and you remember how he taught you to do it, and you remember closing it, and you reach with your fingers and push down into the wall and start to pull it apart, and you feel immediately on the other side that emptiness that is the abyss. There's nothing else that feels like it. Quiet, peace, nothingness. And you pull it apart, and you open the wall up, and you step through. And as you do, you find yourself in that darkness of the abyss. And in moments, you sense a presence. That appears deep in the void. A pair of grandmotherly eyes looking at you. Are you ready to come home?
There's a long pause as Margot closes up the asp and tucks it into the back of the waist of her pants. I'm ready, Grandma. Supreme Ma.
Come, darkling. Join the flock. Our shadow grows, and you feel a hand, soft and silky, dark as night, reach out and take yours. Grandmother is so happy that you came to see her.
We have work to do, don't we?
That we do, child. That we do. She gently pulls on your hand towards her. You follow?
I go with her.
Downtown Montreal. On the rooftop of Victoria Place. You can see the lit Jacques Cartier Bridge. You can see the lit cross. Fiona. You look at the city at your feet. Laid out in all its glory. The lights of the night slowly fading as the sun is about to come up on the horizon. Costa and Sadie and Irene are there. It's beautiful.
It's rotting.
That's why we're here.
Go on then. Give me your pitch.
I'm sorry that I didn't tell you anything before.
What else is new?
I needed to have you as far removed from us as possible.
Right.
You're not Bruja. Not in the sense that you understand it.
What the fuck does that mean?
You're something better. You're true Bruja. Our bloodline is descendant of Ilias, one of Cain's first embrace. The real founder of our line, not the bastard murderer Troil who diablerized them and created the rabble that are known as Bruja. Your lineage is pure.
Well, that's some news.
There is duties that come with being true.
Well, don't wait for the sun to come up. Let's get going. Tell me.
The antediluvians have awoken. The Tal Mahara has called us to work, but we don't serve them anymore. We were in Enoch for some time. But time is no longer on our side. We need your help.
How can I be of assistance?
We're going to start by taking over this city.
Not that simple.
Nothing worth doing ever is. But that is only first step. There's a doorway here beneath the pyramid that's being built. It leads to Enoch, the first city. There's something that is hungering, that is all destroying, that is currently creeping in the shadows of this world.
I would reckon I've had a brush with it once or twice.
It is so destructive that even its children, those we call the Malfians, are fighting against it. But that is a much bigger problem than we have to deal with right now. The first step is to take this city. We need to take it. We need to take it soon. And that's why you've been here, learning, embedding yourself in it.
Doing all the legwork for you and not being told what I'm actually doing.
In time, everything would come.
Sure. We've only got eternity.
Time is different for the true Bruja. Our gift from our founder was something most other kindred don't know about and have not seen. Look at your watch.
Glance down.
You see that it's stopped. Now that you think about it, the sun should be up.
That's right.
We're true Bruja. Fiona, time may be running short, but it's on our side.
We really do have eternity, don't we?
In
That's
more
a
ways than one.
fucking trick.
I'll teach you. Do you want to enjoy the night a moment longer before we get to work?
I will find my time for pleasure soon enough. And I look at Sadie. For now, it's time we better get to work. I have some ideas. I'm sure you do too. But if we're going to take this city, you have to understand that the Black Lilies are a big fuck-off problem.
Costa, and when he speaks, you notice something different about him. Like, he was always kind of goofy and a little kind of, but he's like Sadie and like Irene now, very affectless, very cold, very dispassionate. The Black Lilies have been a problem here for a few decades.
More than that, the way I hear it.
There's them, and there are a few other things. I, of course, am well aware that you have very few charms, but I do hope that you've managed to make a few friends.
I've got friends.
Good. We're gonna need friends.
Good. You protect them, you understand that? You protect my friends.
He nods.
They're not expendable. Just because they're called foot soldiers doesn't mean that they are fucking expendable. Do you understand me? These are crucial people to the heart of this city.
I understand that. Irene says, the Tal Mahera have dark designs, but our time with them is done. We will create our own place, set our own boundaries and our own goals. But it begins here tonight.
I'm all for a little socialism.
Let's enjoy this night sky a little longer and then go see what we can do about buying this city a bit more time.
Very well. Thanks for not leaving me out like some trash on a New York City street in the 1970s.
I knew you'd be fine.
Go fuck yourself, Irene.
I'd rather not. Back at the Tremere mansion, Elise, you are holding Faraday in your arms. He's dying. Your choices are clear. What's going through Elise's mind as you contemplate this?
She looks to Faraday.
I would like to be alone. And take that thing out of here.
Fletcher kisses your forehead, and then I'll be just outside if you need. Vico's already moving. They pick up the body of the thing. Pull him out. Close the door behind them. You're left alone in the room with Faraday.
She cradles Faraday very lovingly, as a mother would cradle her child. And she places a kiss on his head, her hands sliding down to close his eyes.
You did so well. I don't think I could replace you. But it's time that you rest now. You deserve it.
And she bends down and closes her mouth over his neck, whispering against his flesh.
I'll never forget you. I love you.
And she bites into him and drinks deeply from him.
The sun comes up, rises high into the sky above Montreal. Humans everywhere waking up, unaware of everything that has transpired in this last night. At the hotel, in a warehouse in Old Montreal on top of Victoria Place, in a mansion in Outremont. Death and more death and so much blood, but life goes on. Sun rises. Humans go to work, surrounded by faces everywhere. Faces they recognize but don't know. People that mean something to them or don't mean anything to them, all jumbled up into one. Days resembling one another. Nothing ever really changing. When Elise and Fiona wake up that night, they find messages waiting for them, scrawled hastily on bar napkins. As they read these messages, Margot's voice echoes in their head.
Fiona, I hope you understand one day why I've done what I've done. You either suffer in this great loneliness of life, or in our case, this macabre rebirth, or you become part of it. I've been drowning for too long. Now I have filled my lungs with the blackest shadows of this world. Somewhere I can't rely on your help. The abyss called to me, and I have answered the siren song. Your work is too vital to both your cause and mine. I have to take care of this. I have to suffer a little longer. Look out for Elise and Cecilia when you can. Elise's wit is catastrophic, but sometimes shit kickers help as well. These last couple of centuries have been brutal. They have made me brutal. It is time that I put that to good use. A ghost will always remain. With all my love, M.
God. You stupid fucking cunt. I love you.
Elise, you are a strange and fascinating woman. And I am trusting you with this most precious cargo. Look after Cecilia as if she were your own sister. I've driven myself into my own quiet path, becoming a shadow in the corner of the room. Each time you see one, think of me looking over you. I crawled my way into a place from which I don't know I will return. Fiona does not know how finite this could be, and I hope this can stay between us. I have faith in the shadows, and that perhaps without them I would have been crushed under the weight of Montreal. I have faith in them as well. I hope you do. For their secrets they tell may guide you on your own path. I believe Fiona will need someone to keep her company as well. And I hate to be the one to charge you with this, but you're all I've got now. Most fondly and oddly, M.
What does Fiona do?
Fiona wipes a tear away, folds the note up neatly, and tucks it into her end table drawer. Quietly, so she doesn't wake Sadie. Makes her way out to find Irene and lay claim to the city.
Elise?
Elise has left her room and she is dressed head to toe in black, that mourning veil that she had hoped to shed for quite some time back over her face. And she pads into Fletcher's office. She is a shell. Her usual joy, not about her. And she just kind of crumples into one of his chairs. I don't know if I want to have a party this time.
However you want it.
I'll have to think.
I know what he meant to you, and I'm dreadfully sorry.
She places the note from Margot onto the desk and slides it across to him. But I do have a job to do. I promised I'd take care of her. And now I have to find her.
Well then, it's a good thing that Vico and I have let bygones be bygones. We're bound to need his specialties.
Perhaps you got a note too.
Perhaps. But if I know anything of him, we'll never know. But think of what you want to do. We'll do whatever you like. And he comes over and he sits down on the floor where you usually sit, next to the chair.
She reaches down and tangles her fingers into his hair.
I think I just need a little bit of time.
Time's something we don't have much of, but you take all you need.
Just a little bit. That'll be all.
Let's take some time. Fiona. As you walk into the room where Irene is, she looks at you and she says, "Something bothering you?"
Just wrapping my head around seeing you for the first time in 50 years? 60?
Time's not the same in Enoch. It moves
Right.
differently. It's been several hundred years since I've seen you.
Well, you can imagine the feeling of coming to terms with someone that you never thought you'd see again. So.
Well, time has a way of doing that. Plays tricks on you all the time.
That it does.
Put that shadow away. Let's focus on what we need to do.
I'm nothing if not a soldier.
Good. Then it's time we get to it.
Very well.
And somewhere in the darkness, the depths of the abyss, Margot, you're no longer alone. Through grandmother, you now have reached out, and your shadow is connected to dozens and dozens and dozens, even perhaps hundreds of other shadows around the world. You feel a connection to a great number of other La Sombras all across the globe, all of them touched by the grandmother. You can't imagine that it's all the La Sombras in the world. That makes no sense, but as you feel out, you try to find those you know. It's not very clear. You reach towards Montreal and... yes. There is one there. There's another one in Montreal who has already succumbed to the grandmother. Difficult to tell who it is. It's someone you know. But just before you can reach out and find out who it is, grandmother approaches you. Are you ready?
Tell me what to do.
Extinguish the light. And on that, my friends, we will end tonight's episode of Demimonde.